Marijuana is expected to boost Missouri's economy, and in Illinois, where it's been legal for a while, one man fighting cancer and chronic pain is also battling his employer over his doctor-prescribed medical marijuana. Craig Miller says that he was suspended after failing a drug test. Fox 2's Molly Rose talked to him exclusively about his fight. Molly?
Mandy, Craig Miller deals with constant muscle and joint pain. He says that once he was diagnosed with cancer, the medicines prescribed to him caused him to lose his appetite. He ended up losing 50 pounds. He finally found something that worked and was making his day-to-day bearable again. But even though Illinois state law allows for it, he's been suspended from his job.
I kept hearing throughout the whole time, do whatever it takes to get better. And then when I do, they haven't even talked to me.
Craig Miller is already dealing with his battle against non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and now he's facing another one, this time against Spartan Light Metal Products in Sparta, Illinois.
Ups, downs, just everything. Like I said, I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping.
It's a dilemma that nobody should have to deal with, be in pain or get fired.
Miller says he always takes his medicine as prescribed by his doctor and never takes it right before or at work.
I work second shift, so I get up early in the morning. I usually would take a little when I got up, or allow me to start moving. Do a little bit around the house, and then a couple hours later go to work. And then when I got home, I would do a little more so I could sleep.
Miller says he loves his job and just wants to get back to work. Some days he fixes machinery. He says other days he's sitting behind a computer.
I really do enjoy working on the machines. The machines are good for me. It keeps my mind active, and it helps me grow because it always makes you have to learn something new.
Belleville-based attorney Daniel Katzman doesn't represent Miller, but says situations like this one are unfair. Katzman says several Illinois state laws conflict each other, creating a lot of gray space.
The way the law is written in Illinois right now is that if you have a workplace, no drug or drug-free workplace, or voluntary random drug testing, nothing's prohibiting that in the Illinois law. But it has to be applied in a non-discriminatory way, and the law also makes it clear that an employee can't be fired just because there's just because they have a medical cannabis card.
Miller says his employer gave him this letter, asking him to have his doctor fill out this survey that would provide more insight on Craig's need for the medicine. But he says his doctor wouldn't, because he said he's only required to send this, a letter that says in part his patient has been educated on the medication effects and when to take it.
I think it definitely could be construed as a violation of his rights. The situation here is, like I said, you can't discriminate against somebody because of a disability, a medical condition, if they're on some pills or something like that prescribed by a doctor.
To add to the confusion, Miller says prior to being prescribed medical marijuana, he was prescribed dronabinol, a man-made form of cannabis that routinely showed up on his drug screenings at work. He says they had his prescription for it on file, so it was no big deal. Now, Miller spends his nights sitting at his dining room table in front of a pile of paperwork, holding out hope he'll eventually get back to work.
I've been running so many circles that it's just, I've almost come to the point of giving up a couple times.
Katzman says employee rights attorneys have to examine each individual case and look at the employer's handbooks and policies before coming to a conclusion of who is in the wrong.
It's work or be in pain. When you're given this medical cannabis card, it's given by a doctor, but I don't believe that the doctors sit down and tell you, hey, you could still be drug tested, or hey, you may lose your job because of this.
We reached out to Miller's employer. They wouldn't do an interview with Fox 2, but issued us this statement. It says, quote, "While it's our policy not to publicly discuss employee issues in order to protect the privacy of those involved, it is our practice to act at all times in a way that is consistent with our goal of providing a safe work environment for all our employees. We are confident that our policies and actions are appropriate and consistent with those values." Miller says he's filed an official complaint with the Illinois Department of Human Rights. Katzman says until federal law changes, there will continue to be this gray area regarding state law versus federal. As of tonight, Miller remains suspended, not knowing when or if he'll be allowed to return to work. Molly Rose, Fox 2 News.
We have a Fox